Good morning. Good morning. This is a video that I wanted to make its own thing, and so I kind of had to, get my thoughts together. It's not that complicated, but it's kind of a topic that I think needs to be addressed in its own video, if that makes sense. And the title for this video is going to be very simple. Why the world hates men. It's just going to be a very simple statement, not even really a question. Why the world hates men. On my channel, as you guys know, if you guys have been watching for the last, it's almost been like a month and a half now since I started making these regular videos, but if you guys have been following, you know that I've been talking a lot about the woman question, or modern women, feminism, the state of modernity overall. Right, the longhouse is a term that's often used in right-wing circles. These sorts of things, you guys understand it. You don't even need to be watching what I've been saying to kind of like understand what this is. If you're a man in the modern world, even if you're not aware of the goings on around you, right? Because like I talk to my normie friends, and like even they kind of sense that something's off with society, the way men are treated, yada yada yada, right? And I'm also pretty balanced on the issue. Like, I'm not completely blaming women. I'm not completely blaming men. It's kind of a circumstance of trauma-based mind control, as I've talked many times. And that whole purpose is so that the elites can keep the sexes apart, basically, like not forming healthy families, not going to church, doing all the normal things that societies did in the past, things that we now all take for granted. Or we don't even take it for granted. It doesn't exist for most of us, is really a better way to look at it. So yeah, that's going to kind of be the gist of this video. By the way, my name is Joey. This is the Jigsaw0097 channel. If you guys are new, this will be the direction going forward. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment down below. Very much appreciated, all the support, returning support, and new support. I was looking at my analytics the other day, and almost all of my views now are coming from, excuse me, almost all of my views now are coming from new viewers. So it's pretty much expected going in this new direction. But yeah, it's kind of cool that I'll be able to hopefully build a new audience going forward. Maybe push to that 800 subscriber limit, see what happens next. But getting over this like 750, 760 subscriber hurdle has been really hard for some reason. I think it's because I'm shadow banned on YouTube, because of the way I read something where, like, if you comment on other people's videos, it can shadow ban you. And with this account, I comment all the time on other people's videos. Maybe I shouldn't do that anymore, but I can't help myself. So hoping to get past all that. And it is an old channel as well. This channel's been around since 2010, so it's literally a 15-year-old channel at this point. And anyway, introductions out. Getting on to the meat of the topic. Why the world hates men, guys? Why don't they want us talking to each other? That's like, why can't men just sit in a room and have discussions like men anymore? Well, the answer is very simple, but also kind of complicated if you get into their mindset. So the simple answer to why is that men get stuff done. It's that simple. Men get stuff done in a way that women never will. In fact, women don't really get stuff done without the consent of men. Like I've said, men allow pretty much everything that's going on in modernity to happen on the woman front. And it also even goes to the actual function of women in society. Like in the past, the man would create the home, and the woman would nest in the home and create the home, right? Like, I'm not taking that away. That's something that most men lack. This is why men are so depressed, is because we have like our abodes, but it's like that old phrase, like it needs a woman's touch, right? That's something that women, I have cousins, friends, people that I actually know that have this, and it's for me, it's not up to debate. Like when you go into a home that has and somebody has a really good wife, or there's a really good woman running that home, it's like night and day. You can just tell that there's like this just ability that women have to just make a home a home. So there's that. But they don't want men to have that, obviously, right? Because when men's needs are taken care of, that's when stuff can really get done, right? This is why masculinity is toxic, guys. Like, why is masculinity toxic? Well, again, it's quite simply because when men get together in rooms, particularly white men, white straight men, this is why they want you to be gay, by the way. They want you to be gay, and they want you to be multicultural, because that's just puts another barrier, right? They don't want you to be Christian either. They want you to be a fedora wearing atheist goober. And they want all of these things because they know that if normal men get together, it's one of the strongest forces in the universe. I've talked in the past about the hierarchy of God, which I believe in. It's a very Christian perspective, but it's essentially God, man, woman, child. In that order, non-negotiable. Like you cannot divorce yourself from that in any way, shape, or form, or chaos ensues. And we're seeing that in the modern world, because the man has to answer to God, but the woman has to answer to the man. That's just the way it is. And then the children answer to the woman. So that's something that's wild too about how they've psyoped women, is like, oh, you if you are under a man, you have no authority. It's like, no, they have authority over their children. That's the whole point. And again, we're seeing this in society. When women don't have children, they just mother the world. We become a nanny state to where we can't do anything. Even women, right? Nobody can do anything. This is why HR departments exist. Nobody can do anything without permission. There's no like tough decisions made. You gotta sit there and endlessly discuss. Like you're seeing that with Trump right now. This is kind of what the judges thing really represents, in my opinion, with the Trump admin. The judges phenomenon just illustrates the totality of gynocentric control in society, because Trump tries to make a decision about the future, like the future of the country. These are obvious decisions, like send criminals out of the country, right? Like bring in farmers that can actually work. But no, it's like, oh, and ultimately the agenda, that could be another video, or I've already kind of talked about it as well, but ultimately the agenda there is that they just hate white people, but they hate men, they hate white people, they hate anyone that is normal. It's essentially all it is. But they use women for this, right? This is how they destroy society. And so that's basically quite simply it, guys. They don't want men getting together, because another thing about this is men will fix this problem pretty rapidly. Like if you got enough men to like really start fixing these problems, right, they'd be fixed pretty quickly. Like, people don't realize how fast, like getting and there's a lot of men out there too right now that are just being utterly wasted. That's another thing we don't even realize. They're like deaths of despair. These are real things, because there are men out there that have skills, they have knowledge. For me, I'm more of a knowledge. I've got certain skills, but I've always had more of a knack for knowledge. But even I feel like I'm being wasted. I go to like a stupid 9 to 5 now, and it's just a waste of time. You're there to make money, and I socialize, and it's fine, I guess, but ultimately it's like not a purpose. It's just a job, and I feel like that's also lacking, because like I don't even have a family. That's another thing. Like if a man doesn't have a family, it's like, why work? Why do anything? Why aspire to be more? At all, really. And so yeah, that's the first one, is that they don't want men getting together. And then another thing, this one's a little bit darker, is it goes into the women again, that the women have all been brainwashed to go out and have sex and party, right? Like the show Sex in the City, quite literally, is what they've taught women to do. And it traumatizes men and women, men in different ways, but women especially cannot handle this level of trauma. The body count they talk about. And then that combined with the propaganda, or the feminist propaganda, it literally convinces women to hate men. So you really see that, like especially with white people. I've noticed, like white women, they really have this. If they've been traumatized properly, you could say, right? They really have this ability to just like viscerally hate their own kind. It's no other race that I've seen really has this. They call it in-group preference, but if you mess with the women, the white women, they will just turn. They just like turn on. Like, I saw the video when they brought the South African farmers in. There was this video of this white woman literally making like a video like, oh, we don't want you here, right? And then she started like praising, like, oh, the blacks don't need you. Like, all these things is like, it's like, that's not even why they're here. For one, they're here because they're being killed in South Africa, and then they're farmers, so they're like actually useful to the country. They assimilate. But it's like this visceral hatred. If you guys have seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. It's this girl with these like big stupid glasses. They're like these librarian looking girl glasses, and she's just like, well, let me just tell you something about this. And it's like, she's a white woman. That's another thing that's so weird. It's like it's like the reverse Uncle Tom, right? Black people always call other black people that are like sane Uncle Tom. But then it just like happens on our side as well. So very odd. But that's another factor in why they hate men. But again, to kind of wrap this one up, because I don't want to ramble too long, the ultimate reason, guys, the ultimate reason why they hate us is because and I'm trying not to be too like Fed posty, right? Because that, like, it just really sucks that, again, this is part of like why they hate men, right? I can't even speak to you plainly on here because YouTube might delete my channel. It's just like the dumbest thing ever. It's another reason why I didn't make videos during COVID, because I was just like, if I make anything, I might go to jail. Like, it was literally that bad. I remember thinking that. Like, people forget how bad 2020, 2021 was. Just an insane time to be alive. But, and again, like, what is Donald Trump, right? You're seeing Donald Trump's admin. Like, ultimately, Donald Trump represents, men in a lot of ways. He's not perfect. Like I said, I think he's a big feminist, right? He talks about women in the workforce all the time. But I did make a video recently that you guys might have seen about the Trump phenomenon. But ultimately, that's kind of what Trump represents. Is he does represent a lot of the Gamergate stuff, which was largely men. And Gamergate ultimately was a revolt against feminism. So I'm kind of like rambling again, but I hope you guys get the point across for this this video that I'm kind of making here. Is that they really can't have men find each other, be friends with each other. They got to make everything gay too. Like, if you guys watch Lord of the Rings, like the Sam and Frodo relationship, the reason it's so cool is because it's like a brotherhood. There's no like sexuality to it at all. But that's something the modern world tries to do all the time now. Like, if men are like friends or they have any kind of connection, it's like, oh, we have to call them gay, right? That's another part of the psyop. It's like, we have to call them gay because they're friends with other men. And it's the best way to describe it. It's because they fear us, guys. That's really what it is. They fear us. They fear men getting back together, looking at the chaos around us and just saying, you know what, enough is enough, and just ending it. And only men are really capable of this, right? Like, I've talked about the ick with women, but women in and of themselves can't fix society. Men need to lead the charge, and then the women will follow. And so that's another thing that they're afraid of, is that if men start, taking society back, then the women will kind of see that. It actually, a lot of women get turned on by that. Believe it or not, they get turned on by the I don't want to say like violence, but like the aggressiveness of men. It's another thing they've been cited. If you guys want a really interesting thing to look into birth control with women. So like, when a lot of women will marry a man because he's safe or whatever. But they'll be married or they'll be dating for several years, and then that time will come where as a couple, they'll be like, oh, I want to have a baby now. And so the woman will get off of birth control, but she'll realize, like, because birth control like suppresses women's like natural ability. I don't know how to describe it. A lot of the MGTOW red pill people talk about their I'm trying to remember the hypergamy. That's what it is, hypergamy. I don't know why I forgot. I haven't talked about this in a while. That's why. Their hypergamous nature, which is their ability to like look for the best mate, right? If you guys know about this, but what birth control does to women is it suppresses that in their brain. It actually kind of like numbs. It's like similar to taking like an antidepressant. It kind of like numbs their natural sex drive, you could say, because it goes to that. But anyway, you'll see this happen with couples. They'll decide to start having children, and so the woman will go off the birth control pill, and then she'll like realize that she actually hates her husband. It's very sad, but it just shows you that's another thing. That's another problem with this feminized society, is that it's made the men a lot more beta, and then the women are just out there having all sorts of sex, and they don't know why they're doing it, other than liberation and I gotta be free, even though it's like everything women do now actually makes them less free. It's like really stupid when you think about it, right? Like, they go to college, they get rattled with student loan debt, and then they have a bunch of sex when they're young, and then they can't actually get married. And if they do get married, they get married to a beta male that they're not even attracted to. So I hate to make this all about women again, but it is. You can't really talk about one without the other. That's where I'm at now. Like I already told you, I don't really like the MGTOW thing or the red pill thing of just kind of like a man improving himself for the sake of himself. Men should still do that, but I also think men are like deserved. They're deserved like a reward, and that reward typically is a female. And in past times, this was like duh, like this wasn't even a question. Most men, I don't know, I can't remember what Jordan Peterson said a while ago. I think he was saying like most men didn't breed, but I think most men, they could have at least gotten some form of female attention. There was none of this like we're all isolated now. It wasn't like that. You still had your village, you still had your community. There was going to be women there. So, yeah, that's the bottom line, guys. They don't like men getting together because then we start talking, right? We start talking about problems. That this is like the strength of men. We're very autistic. We notice the things, right? That's why they call us racist, anti-Semitic, sexist, right? All this is just noticing. It's just pattern recognition. You're just noticing reality. And then when you notice reality, they have to gaslight you because it's like they know that if you notice reality, then you're going to want to fix the bad things about reality that you see. And then, no, that ruins our grift. So that's what this all is, too. This government, this media apparatus that we're in, this entertainment product that we're all forced to live in, this all is a grift. It's like I talked about in that previous video about you are a battery, guys. You're a battery, and all they want to do is suck the energy out of you and convert it into currency units, right? Into green line go up. And they don't care about anything else. So that's kind of the video. I thought it'd go a lot deeper than that, but I think you guys get what I'm saying without being too Fed posty. Because again, like just literally talking about men getting together, people will assume that means like Nazi Germany is coming back to the forefront. It's this stupid now. It's gotten to this level of clownishness that I am white-pilled for the long-term future, because I think that especially the younger, like I'm a millennial, but then we got Gen Z, Gen Alpha coming up. As the generations get up, the younger generations, I think it's just going to progress more and more towards a right-wing direction, towards a patriarchal direction. And it'll ultimately kind of start sorting itself out, but we're definitely in for some short-term pain before that happens. And it kind of sucks being a millennial in that way, because it does feel like my generation is kind of, and Gen X as well, I have sympathy for them. Gen X, though, they did a lot of things Gen X complain about, like, oh, we were stuck in an office, this and that. I kind of envy them a little now, because it's like we can get these jobs, but it's like it's hard to have like a solid 9 to 5 now as a millennial. I kind of envy the fact that Gen X had like some form of stability in that regard, even if it did suck, right? Like the movie Office Space was kind of like the Gen X experience. But yeah, Gen X and millennials, it's kind of feels like we're just we were like born too late. We were born like too early for what the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha might witness, but we were born too late to experience like the boom of the boomers, right? The amazing economy and all that. So we're kind of just like the middle ground, and kind of trying to figure out what our role is, right? And so yeah, anyway, that is the video, guys. I'm gonna go drink some coffee so I can wake up here a little bit better. But if you guys like this content, please consider subscribing, like the videos, comment down below. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you've been watching all the videos all the way through, getting to the end, I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to y'all later.